A lot of small business owners, they don't think they have the time, they don't think they have the connection, the people. But in the end, like the more you get out there, the more you talk to people about it, more people will know about you. So, and also being able to give back, the satisfaction you get from it, nothing can compare.
Kelly Zhou is here with us today. Growing up in Fujian, China, her grandmother inspired a passion for community, independence, food, and tea. In pursuit of the elusive American dream, Kelly made a life for herself in New York with a degree in computer science, a restaurant career, and in 2018, her first bubble tea shop, Yaaas Tea. She didn't stop there, though. She expanded her business into catering and franchising and was voted Best Boba on Long Island 4 years running. Welcome, Kelly.
You have a lot going on with Yaaas Tea and everything else. So what's like on the horizon in the next couple of weeks?
So as the CEO of the company, my main job is to grow the brand.
Hmm.
Right now we have 11 locations on Long Island. Our next milestone is 100 locations, around
Wow.
like 3 to 5 hours distance from Long Island.
That's great.
Yeah.
And working on that, do you find that there's anything that's been really rewarding in feeling that growth?
Yeah, the growth definitely, even the journey, whole journey, it's very, very rewarding.
That's good.
From pushing my own personal limit, now created a company. I'm able to share with the world what
Mhm.
I am passionate about. It's
Right.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
great. And anything that's been particularly challenging, the things that your day to day can be kind of dragged down by, running up. Yeah.
Yeah. Biggest challenge is definitely pushing myself. And every day I wake up to feel very lucky that I get to do what I love to do.
Mhm.
So my job, it's not hard in a way that I'm dragging myself to my job. I can't wait to get up in the morning and say, hey, today I'm going to do something better than yesterday. And there are so many tasks to do, so many goals to accomplish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an ambitious goal getting to 100. You had some background before that. How has that kind of career transition been for you? What have you seen that helped you from your past or kind of fueled your next step here?
Actually, I was always in the food and restaurant business. So my
Hmm.
background is I immigrated from China to the United States when I was 14.
Hmm.
Worked my whole way 3 years in high school. I started my 10th grade in the United States.
Hmm.
Worked full time, almost like 40 hours after
Oh, wow.
school in a
Hmm.
bakery, restaurants, you name it, I've done it. I was making $4 an hour. That was how much I was making. I've done everything. So my mom and my
Hmm.
dad work in a garment factory. My
Hmm.
dad was a presser. My mom was a garment sewer. So it was
Nice.
quite hard letting just, both of my parents are supporting the family. They're working
Hmm.
6 to 7 days a week, 60
Right.
to 70 hours a
Wow.
week. And my journey I went to Stony Brook University and I studied
Hmm.
computer science and business. So it's amazing that actually we just opened up our Stony Brook location,
Yeah, that's a sort of full circle, right? Hmm.
but be able to put Yas tea in an area that was so familiar to me. Like I
Right.
was remembering like 20 years ago, I was hanging out at the AMC theater, which is like right next door
Uh,
to them. It was amazing.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have felt nice to kind of go back to that old stomping ground and
Yes,
establish
yes.
yourself there.
In college, I was always in the food and beverage business, being a
Hmm.
dishwasher, I was a waitress, I was a restaurant manager, and because my business background and technology background, I was able to do some sales also. I was selling
Hmm.
houses while I was in college. That
Oh, wow.
actually, yeah, that actually paid for majority of my tuition. And
Hmm.
I had some leftover money saved on the side to start my first business. And surprisingly enough, it was a takeout restaurant.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, so pretty much right out of the gate, right from, right
Yes, yes.
even
I've
during
done
college.
every single position in the restaurant.
Wow. So how was that kind of transition?
So how did that transition from my major, that what I
Hmm.
was studying in college, to what I'm doing? I love
Yeah.
computer, I love technology, but I know I'm very good with people, with the hospitality.
Hmm.
So using the technology background definitely helped me tremendously in creating what I have today. So
Hmm.
Yasti is a very technology driven concept.
You can see with the ordering screens at Yaaas Tea, everything's very, cutting edge. So it must have helped to have some kind of, if not specifically computers, at least just that kind of engineering problem solving mindset must have been helpful for
Yeah. Yes,
all the
yes,
technology
definitely.
involved.
And the
Yeah.
vision of incorporating food and beverage business with technology,
Mm,
that's what everything kind of like click. Like, wow, what
mm.
I learned in school, actually, every single bit of the knowledge I learned, I'm using it today. So it's amazing.
So you were in food service for a long time. You said you had a takeout business. So how was that, how was that starting out? Did you find anything that you liked about takeout that, brought you toward your work at Yaaas Tea? Was there anything that was like a lesson learned for Yaaas Tea?
Was in the Chinese takeout business, it was very hard because
Mm,
no matter how hard I try, the lifting the wok or cooking the sushi or just
mm,
slicing the fish is just not my thing.
yeah.
And just like now, the Yaaas Tea concept is bubble tea, coffee, and we
Mm.
have sandwich too. That just the product itself, it just make me much happier than when I'm cooking raw meat and fish, etc. And that
Right.
make the concept just so much easier to develop more into a national brand.
Right. Yeah. It's not necessarily the kind of thing that you could do with takeout is grow and expand that greatly. There's also some expectations from people typically that takeout, especially Chinese food takeout, has to be, very, very cheap, and that obviously affects the margins. It's nice that people have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to, fun products. They're not looking for the cheapest bubble tea. They're looking for the best bubble tea, which, according
Yes.
to Long Island as a whole, it's Yaaas Tea.
Yeah, proud winner of Best Bubble Tea Long Island 4 years in a row, and then we are in
Right.
the run for the fifth time.
Are you guys excited?
Very excited. Every year we are very excited.
That's great. So, you're doing a lot between the franchises and the flagship store. Is there anything in particular that you found helps you with your balance between your different tasks? Do you spend like a day focusing on the franchises, a day focusing on the flagship, a day on marketing? Where do you kind of break that down? How do you find balance there?
Someone in every department in the company are actually help me quality control on the marketing, on the operation. My main role is to lead the direction. But it's challenging because the what I'm doing right now, it's a brand new thing for me. I've never done franchising before, but that's also the fun part that you are able
Hmm.
to learn so many new things every day and able
Right.
to meet people that are doing the same thing as you and also that has done it before. Like yesterday, I was at
Hmm.
a franchising seminar. I met someone who 15 years ago they have one store. Now he has over 500.
Wow.
So it's very fascinating to me. I'm very, very passionate about business. I'm very, very passionate about growing the business and also giving back. It's very, very important to Yas Tea. Like yesterday, we went to the Veterans annual party, and it was just amazing to be part of that. Seeing like so many veterans come together, the whole community was supporting the growth of the organization.
Hmm.
Yes, having Yasti growing as a company and be able to give back, to be more involved, that's very rewarding.
So like that community aspect and learning. You mentioned in interviews that your grandmother was a huge inspiration, especially for learning. Is that
Yeah,
kind of what drives you with your entrepreneurial efforts too? Is you get to learn day to day
definitely.
things to improve?
She was someone who's never been to any schooling in
Oh
her
wow,
life. She
mm,
has seven sons,
wow,
and she's started working since she was 10-year old. But she actually supported five of my uncles, including my dad, to went to college.
wow.
She taught me how you need to be independent.
And that was probably especially pretty hard. You mentioned you came from a pretty small city.
It was a very, very, I come from a very old-fashioned village in China.
Mm,
So it was very hard for me to break through. So
mm,
you can say it's much harder for me to get acknowledged by what I'm doing, much harder for me than my brother. But
right.
I'm the black sheep of the family. I don't take no for an answer. I keep pushing forward. Yeah. So yeah, definitely to answer your question, my grandmother definitely played a very, very important role for me to become who I am today.
So we were discussing a little bit about community, how you like to give back through Yaaas Tea. What was kind of the inspiration there? Was there anything? going back to your time growing up or in college that made you realize, we need to be focusing on community with things that we do?
Mentoring definitely is something I am doing, and I hope to get to do more and more because I think when I was growing up or when I was trying to get my foot into the door, I was always looking for leadership or someone to give me support and help
Hmm.
to change what I didn't like. But in the end, slowly I realized I am actually that mentor. I'm actually the leader. So when kind of like a light switch go off, because before a lot of my friends told me, Kelly, your speech is very inspirational. Like when I get near you, I get very, very pumped up and I get very inspired. Maybe that's because like I'm very stubborn person. I'm very, very picky. I don't take no for an answer. That's the quality like people are looking for in terms of mentor. So yeah, so I was looking for a mentor in my life. I couldn't find any. So that's why I became one.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's not,
So
yeah.
I help a lot of student bodies, organizations, schools to raise money. The proceeds all go to the cause they are supporting. This
Mm,
morning, I was just came from a high school. Yeah, it's a one high school student in Great Neck North. He
mm.
started that foundation, nonprofit foundation, to raise awareness for autism. That was 4 years ago, and now I think they have few hundred kids,
Wow.
volunteers. So
Mm,
what's
wow.
very, very amazing, yeah. They raised few $100s today in a short period of 1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's terrific.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh
I
my
told
God.
them, I said, when you have Yaaas Tea as the selling item, all the kids went wild. Like we were doing it in the lunch period, in the
Uh-huh.
lunchroom, literally 45 minutes, all sold out.
Wow.
I think he made over $400. So I'm very, very proud
Oh
of
my
the
God.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So is that how you find your community is through working with organizations like that?
As much as I can do, working with schools, high schools, college. We just did a fundraising for Stony Brook University
Mm.
for Asian Club. And also I'm planning to do teaching for Girl Scouts.
Cool.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some PTA reach out to me from the elementary school. I
Mhm.
think it's important for young girls, especially in today's society. It's a lot of noises around them. There are so much wrong messages going on the internet. So
Mhm.
if we can say something as a mentor to the little girls, sometimes just few words of encouragement, I think it's important.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
working with those schools and those organizations, is there anything else that you do within Yaaas Tea as well? Anything that you work on with mentorship or leading?
Yeah, so employee wise, I always try to promote from within. Some stores they actually have operators that became partners of the store.
Oh,
And one franchisee actually was one of the employees.
wow. So went from an employee at one of the locations to
Yeah,
franchisee. Wow.
because it's hard to start a business from scratch where you
Mhm.
do not have too much connections or resources or even the most important knowledge. I did a seminar with Chase Bank. The topic is chasing the American dream.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then the most common question I got during the seminar is, how do you become an entrepreneur? And I told them the most important is you don't become your own boss thinking you're going to get more time for working for yourself and you can just lay on the beach. Actually, it's a lot of pressure. And I always try to warn people about being an entrepreneur because you don't have a fixed income. You
Mhm.
are putting your family, yourself in a lot of risk.
Mhm.
So, as much as I can give them the worst side of the story, then I can say, you are enjoying life because you are running a successful business. But yeah, even in franchising, we got over 200 applications.
Wow.
And I
Nice.
actually discourage a lot of them because some of them are like they're life saving, but I always tell them for the food and beverage business, the most important is operator. Is that
Mm.
people who run the business. I can
Yeah.
provide a very solid product and system, but if you don't have the right person running the business, or you thinking you just dump the money in the cafe and the cafe will magically make the money, that's not a true story. It's your
Mhm.
sweat and tears. It's long hours in the restaurant. It's not able to take off when everyone's taking off for holiday.
Right. Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time with my franchisees, with my store operators, trying to teach them. And if you're not ready mentally or financially, we just cannot do it. I cannot let you do it because that's going to be hurting you.
Right. And,
Yeah.
same with employees as well. You showed some support for having a strong minimum wage, something that can keep
Yes.
employees working sustainably and improving themselves while at work.
Yeah. Yeah. I come from a background that both my parents were making minimum wage and
Mm,
myself was working minimum wage for a long time. So I do have a soft spot in my heart for people who just don't have things ready for them, things they can leverage on. So as much as we can support, I
mhm,
always try to pay a little bit more and also try my best to give overtime as many as we can. The way I look at it, it's very hard to live in Long Island based on minimum wage,
mhm.
right?
Right.
So, yeah, so we save, we are very, very stingy in terms of marketing. I try my
Mm,
best to do only digital to save that marketing cost so I can bring down the food cost. Like our labor cost is relatively higher than normal
mhm.
because we pay overtime, we pay extra hours that in other business concept they might not want willing to give. But at the same time, to me, when your employees are happy, your customers are happy, and your business will be better. It's a win-win-win situation. Our team members are phenomenal. Really, really, I cannot appreciate them more. You can see it from our Google reviews. Every customer coming to our door, we need to greet them twice. We call it double greeting. But I think that's what the food and beverage business is supposed to be. That
Mhm.
people coming to the door feel welcome instead of, oh, I'm here, like why you bother me? Get the stuff and get out. No. I want everyone to come in, feel welcome, feel like we want you here and we thank you for supporting our business.
Yeah, and especially with the drink industry, maybe for food, you're just coming in for nourishment and leaving, but with the drinks and pastries and things that are supposed to bring you joy, you definitely want to walk out feeling better than
Yeah,
when you walked
feeling
in.
happy. And we
Hmm.
have a Yaaas promise. If you go to any of the Yaaas Tea store for any reason you don't like the drink, just give us the drink. We'll remake you one. No question asked.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, within the industry, it seems like Yas is really pushing forward, between focusing on employee happiness and compensation. If everyone was focusing the same way on employee happiness, you wouldn't also have to be as competitive and
Correct. All the food costs are going up, but we are trying our best to keep the cost down by lower turnover rate. Stable employee mean like stable quality of the operation. And now we have more franchisee stores than our corp store. So it's my role to almost teach all my franchisees how I run my business, what is the reason all my corp stores are successful, so they can just take the system and make their business successful. Their success is my success. So
right.
they are very important to me, every single franchisee stores.
Um, we mentioned a little bit about how you try to keep costs low for marketing, and that helps with the bottom line in general. So a lot of the marketing that Yasti does is very organic. It's focused on the fans of Yasti. There's interactions that you've had with people, at catering events and all that. It seems like you really have a growing fan base that you are close with.
We try to cut the marketing expense by gaining organic influence. By doing that, we don't have barriers between our core team with our customers. And I personally, as much as I can, always try to go to the store. And a lot of people know me because I've been like that since our store number one. And as much as I can, I like to stop by every store, talk to the customer. To give you a perfect example, some of the products, if not selling too well, we will take off the shelf. And a lot of people, if a lot of people say, "Hey, I love the product. Why did you take back?" And we'll always reconsider. So the voices of our customers are super, super important to me because in the end, the product is to service the customers. So I'm definitely not a CEO that sit in the office punching numbers. My role is to, as much as I can, hear the real voices, hear the people that are supporting our Yasi business. And we are very lucky that we have very, very loyal fans on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also a great platform. Whenever we have some events that we need support, when we shoot out like a post on Instagram and we get phenomenal supports.
And do you have anyone that kind of went to the store, liked the product, were fans, and then they got converted into either working at a Yaaas Tea or creating one themselves?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. All the franchisees are Yaaas Tea loyal customers.
Wow.
Every single one of them. They love the product, and I all met them as a customer, and we start talking, conversation, one thing to led to another. Right now, my 100% of the franchisees are Yaaas Tea loyal customers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably a very good sign, if you have most of the franchises coming from fans.
My Forest Hill franchisee, she is actually our most frequent user on our app.
Oh,
She
wow.
has been following us. She's been following us since our third occasion, which was
Hmm.
almost 3 years ago. And we were just joking internally. Our app went live about 8 months ago. Within the past 8 months, she came to Yaaas Tea over
Hmm.
200 times.
Wow. So that's
Yeah,
a true
so
fan. Yeah.
yeah, she's a true fan. So that's
And
why I turned down a lot of cash investors because when the first question is, do you know Yaaas Tea? Do you know Yaaas Tea product? Have you ever tried Yaaas Tea product? If you say no, no, no to these above three questions, then I say, okay, you can fill out the information and we'll get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, you want people to really believe in the product that they might be
You
selling.
have to. You have to. If you're doing something that you don't truly believe in, the spark is not there, and many
Hmm.
good things will not come. Yeah.
So, you started this after some time in the restaurant business. What kind of inspirations did you have for the branding the Yaaas Tea? Was there anything that you kind of looked at for inspiration? Were there any like products that you were a fan of that led you to there?
In terms of branding, I have to. That's why I brought the cup to show you. So this is the Yaaas Tea cup. The logo is very, very meaningful for me. And that's pretty much my 20 years of business in this logo and my whole life in this logo.
Wow.
So if you look carefully, Yaaas Tea logo has few layers of meanings. This is a hashtag.
Oh.
Nowadays, every one of us are connected more or less only by the social media. A lot of
Hmm.
our social life, relationship between the people around us, it's all connected by the hashtag. And also you see there are three cups here. So cup represent our product, the product we sell, which is coffee, tea, sweet desserts, and sandwiches, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, if you look here, the cup, it's this one is facing up, this one is facing down. This is like average day life. I was here. My life was upside down from immigrating from a foreign country to here with nothing in my pocket and no resources to back me up. But I never
Hmm.
gave up. So I lived my life always facing up, looking up, and live my everyday life like it's my last day. What you pour into the cup, you might not guarantee to get success out of it, but keep pouring. Just give it the best you can do. So I
Right.
always joke around, like I'm very perfectionist in a sense. I always try to do things the best I can. But I think yeah, what Yasi taught me is there's no perfection. The only perfection you can get is accept the imperfection of the world and
Mm.
accept the imperfection of yourself. And as long as you keep making improvement, as long as like today's you, it's better than yesterday's you, then you are successful.